Welcome to Calculus 1. This is my syllabus video. The first thing you want to know about my course is that it's a flipped course. So first thing we have to do is watch videos before we come to class. Please note that my videos are hosted on YouTube. You've probably figured that out. I can also post them in other places as well. But you are probably watching this on YouTube, which means in the lower right corner of your screen there is a gear. Please explore the different video settings. For example, you want to make sure that you have a good quality video. For example, here's one of my really old videos where I first noticed that this can be a problem sometimes. If you are looking at a video and it's blurry, you go to Settings and you can adjust the quality, and the auto quality is not always the highest available quality. So you crank that up to the highest quality your bandwidth will allow. You can also experiment with closed captions. These are automatically closed captioned by YouTube, so they may not always be correct, but they sometimes are helpful. And finally, the thing you can adjust is the playback speed. I recommend that if you think I'm talking too slowly, to crank up the speed. If I'm going too fast, crank it back a little bit and see if it improves your comprehension. So those are my welcoming comments on just using the video. Let's head into the Blackboard shell. The first thing you'll see is a checkoff sheet. I recommend that you print this off. I also recommend, if you have a printer, you print off all the worksheets. So if you don't have a printer, what I recommend is that you make this checklist yourself, but in some fashion. Make sure that you are staying on top of your work. I try to pace you in this class with due dates, but I'm very flexible about things being turned in late. As such, some students do have trouble getting things in a regular time intervals, so they are sometimes susceptible to falling behind. Please don't let that happen to you. Please turn things in as close to the requested due date as possible. On this checkoff sheet, there are red items. Those are items I expect you to complete before the first day of class. So the only items are the videos. There are 4 videos, which is your welcome video that I sent you a link for. This syllabus video. I'm sorry, there's only 3 videos. The third one is the lesson video for lesson 1, and there is a syllabus quiz and an icebreaker assignment. Okay, so those things should not take very long. If you are in a time crunch, the most important thing to watch before coming to class the first day is honestly video 1. So if you're in a time crunch, pause this video and go watch that one instead, because that's your top priority. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go through some items on the syllabus. And I'll show you that there is a textbook. It is completely optional. If you click on this link, I've been told that you will have the option to rent it. I've also seen cheap copies on Amazon. It is not at all required, and you're in no rush to get it. Here is what it looks like. This is essentially what it looks like if you do rent it. This is the interface. You can see it is not very fast in responding unless you have super high-speed internet. So it's just kind of annoying. But if this is something that is helpful to you, it is not expensive and for most people, and it may be worth your effort. I think a few people will find it useful, and most students probably won't need it. Your icebreaker assignment is part of your grade. It is meant to be fun, it is meant to be enjoyable and short and easy, but it is part of your grade. This is my example of what I might have done if I had been given this assignment. Make a few blurbs about yourself, a few pictures. Nice if you put one of your pictures in, but it's not required. You could make an icon of some sort that kind of represents the way you feel about yourself. Something that your classmates can look at and use that to sort of break the ice, just exactly what it says. Okay? So that's your self-expression And as long as you put in a good faith effort, you get full credit on that assignment. Okay, we have attendance is taken on paper. I will literally check your name off on a piece of paper. So I don't intend to have any electronic version of that. So if you want to know where you stand in terms of attendance, just ask me. I think most people will figure out where they stand. But if there's a question, just ask me. Your syllabus. Let's go over some highlights of the syllabus. I would like you to read it yourself. The office hours are here, and the Zoom classroom, I'm not going to give you the password, except I will give it to you in class, but you can also just link directly through Blackboard. That's fine. I'm just not going to do it on this video because this is a public video. I have a YouTube channel, which is public. I have many YouTube channels. In fact, I want to sort of point this out to you. I've been making YouTube videos for my students for almost 7 years. And I've been posting YouTube videos of my kids for longer than that. But just for my students, it's been almost 7 years. So let me, youtube.com. I have a gazillion of them. Prof Dietz AU is my first one. And that was usually Math 154, or I post a lot of things there if I don't know where else to put it. I have Math 170, so Prof Dietz 170. As a whole bunch of review videos are in this Math 170. That's pre-calculus. And I have Math 211, which is a type of calculus that we don't teach many sections of that anymore. But it's an applied calculus for business majors, and it covers a lot of the same content as this course. And I have 221, which is where we're going to be going for most of our videos. That's where most of my videos for this course will be housed. So if you are the type of person who doesn't really want to log into Blackboard all the time, but you'd rather just like get an iPad or a Kindle and just sit and watch the videos in a relaxed environment, if that's your style, you can just click on playlists. And for example, if you just want to look through the pre-calc review playlist, you can do that. Oh please, I don't want to hear my voice. Okay, and then there's a playlist for weeks 1 and 2. I will continue to build this. So I will make this YouTube site accessible to you so that if you want to watch the videos, you don't have to go in through Blackboard. Okay? And I have tons and tons more YouTube sites, but those are the only ones that are relevant to this course. Okay, so in terms of, I also have a Twitter account, which I will only use in a specific instance. If there's some kind of power outage or other kind of personal emergency and I can't get to class or office hours on time, but for whatever reason, I do have access to my phone, which may have a trickle of internet. If this should occur, I will post a message on Twitter. More than likely, if something were to come up at the last minute, I should have enough time. If I have normal internet, I would just email you guys and I would let you know that way. So my primary mechanism for communicating with you will be email, but just in case I can't get to my email, I can't log on properly, but I can get to Twitter. That's a secondary place you can look for messages to see, like, why isn't she here? I actually have only used this extremely rarely, but who knows? When you come to class, do not just sit back as a non-participant. This is a very active course. This is why you watch these videos in advance so that you can just zone out and watch the video so that you can absorb everything through your eyeballs. And then you come to class to talk about it and to share it with your colleagues. So the point is your classroom time is very active. You're going to be spending time in breakout tables and actively working, and I will be circulating around from table to table. If we have an SI leader, the SI leader will also be circulating through the tables to talk to you about the exercises. Okay, there is a quiz that goes with this syllabus, so it's obviously an open book quiz. Everything here is an open book quiz with one kind of exception. The kind of exception is this thing called the gateway. The gateway derives from, originally, if we were in person, they would be proctored and timed and in a controlled setting, and you'd only have a certain number of chances to take it. But what it is right now, it's essentially just a grade, and you can try it as many times as you want. The only thing I do request is that you do not get help from anybody else, that you do it as it's intended, because you will get the benefit from it when you use it as it was intended. And that means just use a calculator and paper and a pencil, and essentially just self-proctor. And if you get frustrated after 20 minutes, you can just quit, because you can just try again as many times as you want. So there should be no stress. This is a self-test, and you want to accomplish it. Your 2 gateway tests entirely comprise 6% of your overall course grade. So even if you got 0 points on any of them, you could still get a maximum course score of 94%, and you could still get an A. I don't recommend doing that. I recommend taking them and getting the points and using it. Think of it as a gym where you go to work out. It's a self-challenge that you will take by yourself and feel good about succeeding. There will be 7 interview days, which are on the schedule, and that's going to be boom, 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 boom. It's going to be like, I'm only going to get to see you between 2 and 5 minutes tops. Most people are going to be closer to 2 or 3 minutes. And I'm going to just whiz through everybody real quick. And during those interview days, it's like a mini quiz or test, if you want to think of it that way. I'm going to ask you questions, probably have to do with either the written assignment that was assigned, because a written assignment will be out at least a week before the interview day that's sort of associated with it. And the interview day will occur a few days before the due date for that assignment. So like if for interview 1, there's going to be written assignment 1 already available, and first interview will be on a Friday, and the following Wednesday will be the due date for that assignment. So that's how the cycle goes. The 7th interview day is just a recap. It doesn't correspond to any written assignment. It's kind of just a watershed day where I can just ask you anything about the course, and I intend to grade fairly easy on this. If you don't do well on the interview day, it just will be as if you didn't show up, and I'll just let you retake it. So it's either a pass or take later situation. I want you to get through each of those barriers. Everything in this course is take over. Every single thing. If you don't get a good grade, you just redo. Like the written assignments is really going to be a bit of a bottleneck, but you get at least 1 feedback cycle on a written assignment. Some of your written assignments will be solo. Some of them you can work in pairs of 2 students. So we'll talk about that later. Participation is really important. Students are expected to attend class during the scheduled times, but attendance credit will also be granted for other things. So if you come to office hours because you couldn't come to class that day, I'm not going to go over everything that happened in class, but I will give you the attendance credit. And also, if you're in any kind of temporary situation where you just actually can't come to class for that week, or something comes up, you just communicate with me. And depending on the situation, sometimes I give credit just for some kind of email exchange that's substantial. But that doesn't mean I'm going to answer detailed questions over email, but sometimes things develop into that situation. Okay, but in general, I don't answer questions that are detailed over email. That tends to be something that we end up doing in office hours. Okay? Let me just glance and make sure that I got everything on the syllabus I needed to cover. Yes, so you should read the syllabus because it's there to be read, but my purpose in talking through it is there are some clarifications I wanted to draw out. But there's a lot of boilerplate that you need to read and be familiar with. So please do read that and take the syllabus quiz. Okay. Okay, so the workflow is explained in the syllabus, but I'll just mention it here. You watch your videos first, and then you come to class ready to discuss it with your peers. You should look at the worksheet either right before or right after watching the video. I'm recommending watch the video first and then look at the worksheet, just so that you can sort of plant it in your head. This is the work I'm about to do, and yes, I did see all the answers to those things in the video, so that at least you make that mental connection that they are connected. Then when you go to class, you'll be in your groups and you can work through those exercises with your classmates. You are welcome to work ahead. That's not required. Your expectation is that you simply watch the video and glance at the worksheet prior to coming to class. Then in class, you will be in your groups. You're not expected to fully finish the worksheet in your groups, but maybe half of it or 2/3. The first day you'll probably do the whole thing because the first one is easy. But as you're working them, if you're wondering if you got the answer right, what you do is you go take that question or that series of questions on the quiz. Since there's an infinite number of retakes on the quiz, you can just take the quiz one question at a time to see if you've got that answer right. Some groups of students will prefer to work the worksheets in a different order. They may say, hey, this one question looks hard. I think I can do the easy ones by myself, but let's work on the hard one in a group so we can get it. That's your choice. So you will be at different tables, different breakout rooms, and you will be working in teams. So you guys as a team, you can make those decisions. Your worksheets and video links are in this folder, and this video that we're listening to right now is right here. This is the welcome video that I emailed you earlier in the summer. And a lot of these other videos are marked as optional. For example, this whole entire playlist, which I showed you already at YouTube, this whole playlist is optional. So if you find yourself needing some review, these ones were selected specifically to go with week 1, week 2 material, and it's more detailed examples. It's just more practice problems. They are from old videos. I've been doing this for, like I said, 7 years. And so I have a warehouse of old recordings. And so I picked out the ones that I thought were most relevant to this week's material and this first 2 weeks of the class. And I put them in this playlist for you. Lesson 2, for example, is very standard. It has a worksheet and a video. That's it. Lesson 3. So I accidentally said it was worksheet 2 when it was worksheet 3, so sorry about that on the video. But that's worksheet 3 and so forth. And lesson 4, we talk about trig. So if you find you're rusty on trig, watch the trig review. And similarly, we talk about polynomial graphing. If you're rusty, watch the review. Okay, so it's all right in there for you. If you feel strong, like you're ready for this and you don't really need review, then don't watch any of the optional videos. That's totally fine. The quizzes could have just as easily been put up above, but my experience with the students is with the quizzes, there may be days when you go and want to work on old quizzes. And so I wanted to put all the quizzes together so that if you're working on quiz 4 and decide you want to touch up quiz 2, it's easy to find it. So I will start opening these up right now. As I create them, they're going to be hidden from you, and that's just because I'm still looking for typos. Once I open it up, the first person touches it and I can't fix it once I find a typo. So once we get further into the semester, you'll see more of these open up, and they may open up ahead. If you are someone who wants to work ahead, then just ask me and I'll start opening up the quizzes earlier. Written assignments, again, you will have 6 of these, and right now I have an article I'd like you to look at about writing for mathematics and your first written assignment. So you can look at that, and if you want, you can work on it right away. All the instructions are right there. I have not yet made a video for that. I'm not really sure if I'm going to. Don't know if it's necessary, but it's possible. If people want me to put a video up to explain the written assignment, I can totally do that. That's not a problem. This is what our classroom and tables links look like. So I just made all these different tables in a main room, but you can also get to this through tools. Let me see, show you what this will look like from the student perspective. So if the student goes to tools, this is what you should see. I don't know what, they won't let me remove this link. I don't even know what that's for. It's kind of stupid. But the rest of these, I left these up because I think there's a possibility we might want to use them. All the Blackboard Collaborate rooms are in here, and that is the official way to get into all those tables and the main course room. But I just find that to be annoying. So you can go in, if you go in through the official door, then you don't have to specify a name. But if you go in through these links, these are all the guest links. So it's just to make your life a little easier. So when you go in, it'll ask you for a name, and you can change your name to whatever you want. I just ask that you pick a name that you wish to be called by. I've had people say like their name is whatever nickname, and then they are kind of upset that somebody's calling them by their nickname, but that's what they typed. So whatever it is you want to be called by, just make that the name you come in as. Okay, that kind of covers that. And similarly, there is a direct link to my Zoom office hours. I'm not going to click that because I don't want all that to show up on the screen, but that includes the password so you can get directly into my office hours. So the office hours are shared with the other course I am teaching. So if you come to my office, one thing that's kind of annoying about Zoom is that I have to let you in. So if you click that, you'll be in the waiting room, and then you won't really know if I'm there or not, but I might just let you in long enough to tell you, hey, I'll be right back, but I'm going to put you back in the waiting room because I need to talk privately with a different student. So don't get offended, but I might let you in just to tell you that, so you know that I'm there. And what else? I guess everything will become obvious. I think I showed you everything. I do want to talk to you about workflow a little bit. I expect that this is the most likely location where I will be when I'm talking to you during the class periods and office hours. This is where I spent most of my time during spring of 2020 with my students. This is our ham radio room, so most of the equipment you see there has nothing to do with statistics or anything else. But what I hope you can see my mouse. Right here is just my main computer. And over here is my work computer, my phone, a calculator, a stylus for this tablet over here. This is the tablet so I can write on my screen. This is also a screen I can write directly on, but sometimes that's awkward and I have to I'd rather just write on a flat surface. This is the tablet, in fact, that I recommended you buy. Here's some earbuds, and here's a stack of paper and a notebook to just and here's an iPad. So one of the things I can do is if I want to be in the main classroom and also in breakout rooms, I'll use one of my peripheral devices to just hang out in the other room. So what you're going to do is if you're in one of the breakout tables and you want to come and talk to me, you want to get my attention, what you're going to do is one of the people from your table is just going to leave the table and go to the main room. And one of my devices, I will probably have it on mute. I may or may not have the camera on, but if you type a message in the main room and say, hey, Dr. Dietz, we need you at table B, then I'll maybe just turn the camera on, or I'll type back and say, okay, I'll be there right away. And so that's your way of getting me to finish up what I'm doing with one table and make your table next in the lineup. So I will get to you more quickly that way. But I do recommend that when you are working, you use as many computers as you have available to you that you can juggle at a time, because the more screen space you have, research has shown that the more effective and more efficient your work will be. So have all your tools spread out in a way that makes sense to you. You don't have to work at a single table or multiple flat surfaces. Like here's another thing. If I happen to be in my dining room, this is more or less what it looks like. This stuff over here is my husband's, like this stuff is his. But here I have the same items I showed you above, more or less, and it's all spread out, and I'm ready to work. So if you can make a space for yourself where there's a lot of surface area, you can grab things more easily. This will make your work flow. And in the worst case scenario, just throw it all on your bed. Hopefully you have a bed and that you can just throw stuff on and that you can work from there. So that's another option. But find a nice flat horizontal surface or a series of surfaces. Get some coffee tables or something, some TV tables. Anything, just so you have more surfaces to lay things out on so that you can get your work done. And one more thing, I do tend to get backlogged on email. And try as I may, I haven't found a foolproof way of fixing this problem. However, for my students, and this has always been for my online students, and now everybody's my online student, but I was teaching online before COVID, okay? So I already made up this email address for my online students so they could get a hold of me faster. And I will tell you that once we're in class. I'm not going to put it here on this public video, but there's an email address. If you email me there, it will send an alert to my phone. I don't monitor any other email on my phone like that. I can look at the email, but I usually just get behind. And so if one of those special emails comes up, then I will respond much more quickly. Also, if we're in any kind of a situation where you feel panicked or stressed because of something, usually I'll just give you my phone number, and that's my cell phone number, and I ask that if I give you my cell phone number, please text me. Don't just call, but if you text me and then there's a convenient time to call, I'll text you back and say, hey, I'm free now if you want to call, something like that. So typical cell phone protocol. It's okay if you have my if you have my phone number, text me after 10 a.m. and before like 8 p.m. it's fine. So basically normal weekend waking hours or whatever. Okay, so otherwise, also I have WhatsApp. I have that because there are some people I need to stay in touch with who are overseas. So if you are in a situation where you cannot use a regular phone but you have WhatsApp, that's fine. So that's, I guess that's all that boilerplate. And the next thing you want to do is watch the first video and get ready for class. See you soon.